had all the credentials as a Pan-Africanist to contest for that high office, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in an election contest, there must be a winner and there must be a loser. And you can also go on a draw. Mr. Speaker, it is not easy to raise the confidence of over 20 presidents of a country, Mr. Speaker. You have seen the first round, he got 22 votes. Those are 22 countries that have faith and confidence in the candidature of Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Mr. Speaker. Many of us, if we were to contest, we might not even get 2 presidents or 3, Mr. Speaker, or even one vote of a president, Mr. Speaker. But he could manage to raise those numbers because he's a Pan-Africanist, he's known in this continent, and he has done and participated in many things affecting this country, Mr. Speaker, in solving them. Mr. Speaker, the election went as it went. Even when he was going for the election, his last speech at Bomas of Kenya, in a conference that was held by the ODM party, he said he'll be very happy if he wins, and in the event he loses, he has a home to come back to. And life continues as usual, and he will do his things, his business, and other things that he normally does. But Mr. Speaker, what has shocked me as a Kenyan, Mr. Speaker, and up to now I am still in shock, is not the loss that we had in Addis Ababa. Mr. Speaker, what has shocked me is that the celebration that happened in some parts of our country after we lost that election, Mr. Speaker. This was not a Kenyan contest, Mr. Speaker. Some of the people who are celebrating are keeping now busy the majority leader here. Can they sit down so that they can hear what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker.
Order, Wamawa and...
These are some of the people who are celebrating. She celebrated, but that is fine, because in a contest you can...
you cannot cross the aisle like that.
To move around the country in funerals, insulting the president.
It's immaterial what she wants to do.
He mentions figures from his head.
Go on.
Kenyans knew
and
very well
the person he follows in funerals
that this is not an
repeating
election
the same
that is
things,
going
and that's
to
how you know. Honorable Speaker, we must at the same
it's
time
not
express
an election
our
that's normally announced at Bomas of Kenya. This was an election that was happening at the African Union. And some of the Kenyans became so unpatriotic and supporting a candidate against Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and even campaigning for him openly in the social media, in all kind of sphere, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I cannot be so unpatriotic. If today a Kenyan of any color, any race, any religion, any creed, comes out to contest for an international position, Mr. Speaker, I will support. In the spirit of being a Kenyan, Mr. Speaker, that's all. The first thing that we need to look at is being a Kenyan, not from the community you come from, not from your color, not from your religion, not from anything. Mr. Speaker, how unpatriotic can some Kenyans be that they fought the Right Honorable Prime Minister for 1 year he has been campaigning, and after losing, they celebrated. We shall revisit that, I can assure you. We will revisit that one. It will not go. We will revisit at the right time. We will also have our day to laugh and to celebrate, Mr. Speaker. And it's not very far, it is coming, Mr. Speaker. It's not very far. You can take that to the bank, and I will remind you, the day I'm celebrating that, you also celebrated your day. This is my day. Inshallah. Bismillah al-Karim. Mr. Speaker, I also want to congratulate the winner. In a contest, someone must win. And a country that is who is our neighbor in the same region, the Eastern African region, won the election. So we have every reason to celebrate also and to congratulate them, Mr. Speaker, because in a contest we expected to have a winner and a loser. But we expected ourselves to win, but we did not win. So we cannot be so losers. We say, there are many things that happened. I was in Addis Ababa, Mr. Speaker. I don't want to talk about them now, but that is part of the election. You don't have to complain. You don't have to begrudge anyone. That is normal. All of us defeated someone by being in this house, Mr. Speaker. All of us defeated someone by being in this house, Mr. Speaker. We had opponents, Mr. Speaker, in the election. Even you, to be elected as a speaker, you had opponents. We had a candidate, Azimio, and Kenya Kwanza proposed you, and you got the highest votes. And now today you are presiding over here as our speaker. You are a speaker for all of us. We are not saying, oh, we have lost, now another speaker must sit next to you, the one who lost to you. We cannot work like that. So, Mr. Speaker, in a contest, it goes that way. But I want Kenyans to get experience out of this contest, because this is not going to be the last time a Kenyan is going to contest for an international job. And I want to encourage the government of the Republic of Kenya to propose and support Kenyans who are qualified to go for international positions, Mr. Speaker. The UN Secretary General job is coming up in the next year, Mr. Speaker. If there's a Kenyan who feels he's qualified to become the Secretary General of the UN, he should go for it. And Kenyans will support. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It doesn't matter. Go for it. So, Mr. Speaker, many countries in this region have done very well, much better than our country, in terms of positioning their people in this multilateral organization, Mr. Speaker. We have not done very well as a country in that sphere, Mr. Speaker. We have to improve our socks and make sure that a lot of Kenyans, even the ones who are celebrating, instead of holding people in villages, in somewhere there in Nyeri, release them, let them go for these international positions if they are qualified. Don't hold people there buying them uji every day, and they are qualified, they have papers, they have masters, they have degrees, everything. Take them out, Mr. Speaker. Wamunyoro is not a church. Unless it's another Shakahola place, where people now go there and they want to die there inside there. So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say that I have thanked the President on behalf of my party, on behalf of my constituency, and on behalf of myself, for showing leadership as our President and supporting the candidature of our party leader. I want to also congratulate my party leader. He's a strong man. Very strong man, Mr. Speaker. Possible. And he always has a second chance. And to come out and say that I want to run for this. If there is any other this country could position to serve in the continent, he will be available. Because in the world, he is everywhere, Mr. Speaker. Now he has been available, Mr. Speaker. He has not the loss that we had in Addis Ababa. And we will continue supporting him. Now I am still in shock. Leader is not the loss that we had in Addis Ababa. We provide our services to the people of this country and to the people of this country, Mr. Speaker, in whichever level we can, in whichever capacity that we can. There are people who thought that this contest was political. They thought that, oh, this is a contest now, or if we lose, ODM will get annoyed. I don't know, annoyed of what? If there are people we should be annoyed with, it should be Djibouti. The people who talk our cup. Because what has shocked me, why should we be annoyed with somebody who was celebration that happened in some parts of our country after we lost that election? We should be annoyed with the people who defeated us. And we are not annoyed with them also. We are congratulating them for doing a good job. Because African Union belongs to all of us. As a nation, we are part of the African Union. So, Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I wish to second and warn the naysayers that you should avoid that kind of thing going forward in future. Mr. Speaker, because if you are going to oppose a Kenyan because of his political affiliation, because of domestic issues, it's a very primitive way of looking at things. And I know some of the people, why we impeach them also, it was not in the impeachment paper, but it's primitivity. Some of them are very primitive people. Village mentality. You know, people want to go to international organizations. Instead of supporting them, you are judging them on the basis of what happens in a village, Mr. Speaker. I'm very sad about that. I do not expect people to celebrate the loss of a Kenyan in an international contest. It's a shame. Whichever you are, you cannot celebrate the loss of a Kenyan in an international contest. I repeat again. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. Now, if our athlete loses in a contest now, in the New York Marathon or in the London Marathon, you expect me to celebrate? Because it's not from my community? It's not from my region? It's not from my religion? It's not from my village? It's not from my what? Shame on you. Shame. And those people who did that must desist. and never to repeat that. I must say that on the floor of this House, Mr. Speaker, because this is where we address issues of concern to the people. And that is an issue of high concern to the people, Mr. Speaker. When we are telling Kenyans that you cannot run in any contest outside Kenya. In the first place, even if we run here in Kenya, they will not vote for us, I know. We have taken very serious that matter, and we don't want it to happen in our country again. We want to support our people. We want to support our Kenyans, wherever they are. That is why we impeach certain people, because they were telling us we are not shareholders of this country. That's what they told us. We have not forgotten. They told us that you are not shareholders in this country. I don't know when the shareholding certificate was issued in this country. At independence, everyone was there. You should call for annual general meetings so that we know which shares we have. So you get impeached on that kind of nonsense, and you continue celebrating again the loss of a Kenyan in an international contest. We will stand firm. We will hold our head high. We have not lost anything. We have, in the contrary, we have gained, because we have registered the name of Kenya in the international arena, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I thank you, and I urge all members to support and to register their thanks, especially to the President and to the former Prime Minister who put his line, or his head on the line, Mr. Speaker, for Kenyans. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, I'll now propose the question, which is that recalling that the African Union, the successor of the Organization of African Unity, or AU, was launched in 2002 as a continental body consisting of the 55 member states that make up the countries of the African continent, with a vision of creating an integral, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena, aware that the African Union Commission, AUC, established as the secretariat responsible for the day-to-day operations and activities of the AU, is headed by the chairperson elected by heads of state and governments from member states. Recalling that on 27th February 2024, Kenya formally announced that the former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, EGH, will be vying for the position of chairperson of the African Union Commission, AUC, building on his previous service as the African Union Special Envoy for Infrastructure Development in Africa from 2018 to 2023, appreciating that in recognition of the immense Pan-African ideals embodied in the candidacy of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, his dedication and leadership in advancing the cause of the African continent through various initiatives and positions held over the years, including his previous service as the African Union Special
Him
Envoy
openly,
for
campaigning for him openly, in the social media, in all kind of sphere. Speaker, this country could not have a better candidate than him.
Odinga as
Celebrating
Kenya's
that you also celebrated your
for the
day. This
chairperson
is
of
my
the
day.
African Union Commission,
Before
noting that the Right Honorable
That this is
Raila
not
Odinga
an
repeating
election
the same
that is
things,
going
and that's
to
how
happen.
you
the
know.
position of chairperson of the African Union Commission was not only his personal ambition, but also a symbol of Kenya's deep commitment to the goals of the African Union and its desire to actively participate in shaping the continent's future. Commending the government of Kenya, led by His Excellency the President, for the Pan-African campaign in support of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, reinforced by Kenya's commitment to regional and continental integration and cooperation, and guided by Kenya's foreign policy. Further commending the remarkable achievement by the Right Honorable Raila Odinga for emerging the run-up in the election of the chairperson of the African Union Commission on Saturday, 15th February 2025, recognizing the need to sustain Kenya's growing prominence on the continental stage and advocacy for a more united, prosperous, and self-reliant Africa, in resonance with the aspirations of millions of Africans who seek to see the continent empowered to chart its own course in the global arena. Now, therefore, this House records its thanks to His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, CGH, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, for endorsing the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, EGH, as Kenya's candidate for the election as the chairperson of the African Union Commission, AUC, and for coordinating the continental campaign in support of his candidacy. 2, expresses his profound thanks to the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, EGH, for demonstrating his unwavering commitment to the service of Africa by offering himself as Kenya's candidate for the position of the chairperson of the African Union Commission, for his leadership in advancing Pan-African unity, for his dedication to the development and integration of the African continent, and for his distinguished attempt to the election in which he emerged as the runner-up. And 3, records his congratulations to His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf on his election as the chairperson of the African Union Commission on Saturday, 15th February 2025. Jared Okello.
Honorable Speaker, from the outset, let me thank you for the opportunity and also bring to the attention of the House, Honorable Speaker, that in the course of that election, I was nominated to be the chief agent in the closed auditorium, Honorable Speaker. And as the chief agent, Honorable Speaker, in a very controlled, heavily guarded compound, controlled numbers of people getting in and out, I was privileged to sit with our president, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, alongside a few members representing the Republic of Kenya during that election, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to specifically thank the President of this country, Honorable Speaker. It is seldom that a person whom you have subjected yourself to a very fierce contest would come back to lift your hands and put you, or try to put you into a position that you are garnering for, Honorable Speaker. The President of the Republic of Kenya went beyond the call of duty, even launching the candidature of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga in State House in the Republic of Kenya, notwithstanding the fact that in 2022, they were fierce challengers, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, history will judge Dr. William Samoei Ruto very positively going into the future. And I come from a community, Honorable Speaker, that will never forget those who do good to it. Perhaps the only community, Honorable Speaker, and I'm very proud to be hailing from that community, Honorable Speaker. As is the norm, many a times there is victory in defeat.
Africanist.
And we left Addis Ababa together with Baba, with our heads
ourselves
high.
To win, but we did not win.
And now
so we
the
cannot be so losers.
Together with the
we say,
Right Honorable Prime
Minister, and supporting a candidate against Kenya, Mr. Speaker, and even campaigning him openly. Campaigning for him openly in the social media, in all
that there
kind of
could have
sphere,
been
Mr.
work
Speaker.
to be done in Addis
I
Ababa.
cannot be so unpatriotic.
And therefore I join my brother, Honorable Junte,
Africanist,
by saying
he's
that
known in
those
this
who
continent,
think this
and he has done and participated in many things
against
affecting
Baba
this country, Mr. Speaker, in
are
solving
in for a rude shock, Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
the mission to unite this country, regardless of where one comes from.
Even when he was going for the election, his last speech at Bomas of Kenya,
and therefore, as
in a conference that was held by the ODM party,
with his brother, the president,
he'll be very happy if he wins.
Who celebrated much early,
an election that's normally
will be shocked
I cannot be so
as we go into the future, Honorable
If today a Kenyan
and Baba is going to give us more direction,
you don't have to complain. You don't have to
as to where
leader. He's a strong man.
We will go, both as a community and as the Republic of Kenya. In the auditorium, Honorable Speaker, there could be factors that played out, some of which we will not delve into, Honorable Speaker.
Contest,
but in that auditorium,
you cannot do that.
If I counted correctly,
you cannot
there
do
were
that.
less
now,
than 10 presidents who had stayed behind for that election. However, they were represented by their various ministers in charge of foreign affairs, Honorable Speaker.
And Kenyans will support.
And I would be
it doesn't matter whether you win or lose.
That even the one who has been elected is
The African
a
Union.
foreign minister of his country. And therefore,
Mr.
those
Speaker, with those
who were
few
given the
remarks, I wish
task
to second
to vote on behalf of
by
their
being in this
leaders,
House, Mr.
Honorable
Speaker.
Speaker,
We had opponents,
contemporaries,
Mr. Speaker, in the
are
election.
his colleagues,
Conference that was
are
held by the
people that
ODM
he has
party.
worked with in
He
the
said
foreign office.
he'll be very...
And
Father
because this
Wamawa
was
and,
a secret
Because
ballot,
test, we might not
it was
even get
secret
two
to the
presidents.
extent, Honorable Speaker,
Or three, Mr. Speaker.
that
Or even one.
presidents
Even
and the
one vote of a
voters
president,
were
Mr. Speaker.
given empty
But he could
papers.
manage to raise those numbers
There was no name.
because he's a
And they
Pan-Africanist.
were expected to
He's
write
known in this
those
continent.
names
And he has
and bring
an
the
election that's
disgust
normally
to
announced
where
at
we
Bomas
want to
of-
be counted, Honorable Speaker.
In a
And therefore,
contest,
the
someone must
speculation
be-
going around
And you got
that
the highest
people
votes.
are
And now today you are
castigating
presiding
other
over here as a
countries for dropping the
in,
ball.
in somewhere
against
here
us.
in,
This is not true, Honorable
in Nyeri.
Speaker.
Release
It
them,
is
let
so
them go
hard
for these
to
international
tell who
positions
wrote
if they are
what
qualified.
on which page
Don't hold
piece of
people
paper,
there
Honorable
buying them
Speaker.
uji every day.
And therefore,
they are qualified, they have
unless you know
papers, they have
handwriting
masters,
of
they have
all the
degrees,
presidents
everything.
in Africa,
Take them
you
out,
can never know
Mr.
who
Speaker.
voted
But
for
Munyoro is
whom.
not a church.
But I can say unequivocally
Unless it's another Shakahola
that
place
apart from
where
Kenya,
people now
there
go
are
there and
20
they want to
countries that
die there
start
inside there.
with Baba through and through. Even as we went into the last batch of the voting process, Honorable Speaker, 20 countries out of 49 that were
somewhere there
present in the auditorium.
in Nyeri.
It's
Release
not an
them, let
easy
them go for these
achievement,
international
Honorable
positions
Speaker.
if they are qualified.
They start
Don't hold people
with
there
us
buying them uji every day.
to the letter,
And they are
Honorable
qualified, they have papers, they have
And
masters,
therefore,
they have degrees, everything.
we are very
Take them
thankful
out, Mr. Speaker.
to the
But Munyoro
entire
is not a church.
African continent because
Unless it's
Baba
another
went
Shakahola
all
place
the way to the
where
seventh
people now go
round.
there and they want to
And in
die
the
there inside
spirit
there.
of Pan-Africanism,
So, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want
chose
to say that
to
I
withdraw
have found the
himself
president
in order to avoid a stalemate that would have ensued, Honorable Speaker. Only Baba can do that. Otherwise, the rest would have subjected themselves to rounds and rounds of elections that would have led to nowhere. And you remember, Honorable Speaker, when our South African sister, Dlamini Zuma, won, they went all the way to the seventh round. There was no ultimate winner. The election had to be suspended for 6 months. And in the intervening period, Mali had to be taken out because of the coup. So Baba, in the Pan-Africanist spirit, chose to withdraw himself, not to subject our African continent to a stalemate that was witnessed when Dlamini Zuma became chair. And Honorable Speaker, these are facts that will govern the elections of AUC going into the future. That certain times there is no point holding on and subjecting the whole continent into a stalemate. Only Baba did it, somebody else can be able to do it, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, a clarion call has been made by both the President and the Prime Minister, Honorable Speaker, that it is time we united our country first and then move to unite the African continent. Honorable Speaker, this is not a small journey. Uniting a country that has always been divided across ethnic, religious, and tribal lines, you need a Baba and you need President Ruto to have this country come together. You need both to bring this country come together. And the hyperbolic political temperatures that we have continued to see, when we have elections 2.5 years to come, must stop for the sake of this country. Honorable Speaker, we only have one country, and it is called the Republic of Kenya. If we destroy this, we have nowhere else to go to. If you go to the northeastern part, where we are playing good host to refugees who left their countries because of the circumstances of war, it is not something that you'd wish on anyone else, Honorable Speaker. The conditions that people live in those shanties is not something to write home about. And therefore, if there are people who are beating drums of war and are laughing at the top of their voices because Kenya has not succeeded, they do not belong to this country. And perhaps they do not understand the history of war and genocide that other countries have been subjected to, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, let us all in this House, as important as this House is to this country, rally behind both the President and the Prime Minister to bring about unity that shall withstand the test of times, Honorable Speaker. Finally, as my Bible, where I draw a lot of sailors, says, that my people suffer because of lack of knowledge. There are people who can laugh due to lack of knowledge. But sooner, that revelation shall come to pass, and this country will be reunited once and for all. And I thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I think I will start first by thanking His Excellency, the President of the Republic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, this is a very important special motion. Honorable Speaker, I really wanted to have indulged you before my brother had started speaking, so that, and you had given instruction that by 6:22, then it will come. I wish maybe, Honorable Speaker, we could be given fewer minutes so that everybody can have an opportunity to contribute. Around 3 minutes, maybe. That, because, yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Can we do 3? 3 or 5? 3, 5. Let's do 5. We see how well we do. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, I said, I'm glad that you gave me the opportunity to speak on this. I first want to thank His Excellency, the President, for leading the candidature of the Kenyan candidate, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, with a spirited